Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today on Masechtas Kesubos daf Chaf Gimel. We are going to begin about 20 lines down on Chaf Gimel Madal by the two dots. It says, "V'im mishenises bo edim lo teitze v'chulu." So this goes back to our Mishnah on Chaf Beis Madal, which talks about two cases. First of all, it mentions a situation where a woman says, "I was married, but now I'm divorced." So we believe her. And the second case is she says, "I was held in captivity, but they never violated me." So she's believed there. And then the Mishnah said, "V'im mishenises bo edim." If, let's say, the witnesses only came after she was married, harazeh lo teitze. So what is that going on? Is it on the reisha of Eishes Ish, or is it the seifa of Shvuya? So this Gemara says as follows. V'ayishiyam masnila aresha. He says this whole case of if the witnesses would come after she was already married, he's talking about the case of the reisha of the case of marriage and divorce. Rabba bar oven masnila seifa. That he's saying no, it's talking about a case of shvuya. So manda masnila aresha koshkin is seifa. If you say it's the reisha, it's also the seifa. Why? When it comes to a woman who's held in captivity, the chachamim are exceptionally lenient. Says Rashi, because it's chashash ba'almahu. It's just a chashash that she became someone had relations with. The ika shema nivla kahuna. That maybe again she's possible the kahuna, but we're going to be lenient if we're not sure. However, if you learn that we're lenient, that if she gets married and witnesses come that she was violated, that she doesn't have to leave, that's only because we're lenient when it comes to a shvuya. However, in the reisha, we're not going to be so lenient, so maybe she has to leave. So leima but Rav Hamnuna kimifiki. Maybe this is actually based on the machlokas of whether we hold like Rav Hamnuna. Diamer demandamasti law reisha. One who learns it's even going in the case of Eishes Ish, Islay the Rav Hamnuna. Demandamasti law seifa. It says it's not going in the case of Eishes Ish, Leislay the Rav Hamnuna. They do not hold of Rav Hamnuna. Who's Rav Hamnuna? So Rashi reminds us. The Yomi, he said, girashtani. If you have a situation where a woman says regarding to her husband, girashtani, that I am divorced, nemenes. In that situation, she is believed. Hilcha had amra garushani mihimna. So when the woman wouldn't have the chutzpah to lie like this, and therefore, that was the whole point. Would a woman actually say to her husband that, you divorced me if it wasn't true? So this was the whole question. That again, look at this Rashi. That we say that she is believed. Maybe the fact that she says that I am divorced, maybe that also is going to be that she's believed. So therefore, maybe again, whether or not this concept of witnesses coming after she was already married, whether Teitze is going to be totally on whether you hold a Rav Hamnuna. Gemara says, "Lo, Dukuli Alma Islhu de Rav Hamnuna." The truth is, everyone holds like this din of Rav Hamnuna, that if she would go up to her husband or to this man and say, you are divorced to me, that she's believed. So everyone holds of that. The whole machlokus, whether or not we say this applies in our case, is the Mar Savar Kiyat Mar Rav Hamnuna Bifanav. The only time Rav Hamnuna says his din is if it's in front of him. Maybe if she's not in front of him, she will have arrogance. Umar Savar Shalom Bifanav Nami Eno Mi'iza. However, according to the other says that no, she is not going to be me'ez even Shalom Bifanav, and therefore if she says this, it must be that in fact she is divorced. So maybe the whole machlokus is it even shelo b'fanav, will she be me'iza? So if she would not have his azus panim, then we're going to believe her, and therefore we'll say lo teitze. Question 7. Isha shama gerushani. If a woman says I'm divorced, v'nises al pi atzma, she gets married herself. V'yachach ba edom, then witnesses come. Shoyse eishes ish im teitze umatam. So we said it's really a machlokus in the Gemara. So the machlokus is based on the sheet of Rav Hamnuna, who says a woman's believed to say Gerashtani, I'm divorced from you. Whether we say that she's believed b'fanav, because to say that in front of your face, that you wouldn't say unless it's absolutely true, or maybe even shlo b'fanav, she would not be meis. Okay. So now the Gemara continues and says as follows: V'im mishenises bo edim, Amar Avu de Shmuel, lo nises nises mamish. When it says if she got married and the witnesses came, it doesn't mean that the witnesses that she actually got married. Elakivan shetirul inase. Once we give her the authorization and ability to get remarried, so afbishal nises, even if she did not actually get married yet, she could still get married now. Ibaholo Tatsi Katan says that she doesn't have to leave. That's mashma she was married. No, she wasn't actually married, but what it means Otetze is Otetze Mehatera Harishon, that she's not going to be removed from the original heter of her being able to get married. Maybe she was never married, but the fact is that she still doesn't have to. That's not a problem. She can remain looking to get married. It's not that, oh, once she's married, okay, fine, she can stay. But if she wasn't married, we're not going to let her get married. No. We said that she can get married, and once we say that, that's it. Tanabam. Amra Nishbesi. Let's say she said, like our Mishnah, that I was in captivity. Utahirani. However, no one touched me. So v'yeshli edim, there's actually witnesses shetahirani, that there are witnesses. So ein armin, we don't say namtin ad shibo edim. We don't say let's wait until those witnesses come because she said there's witnesses. El matirin osamiyad. We allow her to get married right away. So it says the Gemara, hitirul inase. Once we allow her to get married, v'achach bo edim, and then all of a sudden the witnesses do show up. But these edim say lo yadanu. Actually, it's not true that she said, oh yeah, these two guys, they're somewhere, they'll be here maybe in a few years, few months, but they know that nothing happened to me. And they show up eventually, so yadanu harzulo teitze. In that situation, they didn't say anything negative, they're just being neutral, so she doesn't have to leave. However, imbo edi tuma, let's say these guys come and say, I know for a fact that that's not the case, she's actually tameh, afil yeshlo kamabanim teitze. Even if she literally has a lot of children, and Rashi says min hakayin hazeh shinasa, because not she can't get married. She can marry to Kahal Hashem. She just can't marry a kohen if she's defiled. So if she was married to a kohen, she has to leave that marriage. So hani shvuyasa the asal narda. So there was these women who were in captivity, and they went to Narda for redemption. Oisav avua de Shmuel. So the father of Shmuel came, Naturi Bahadayu, and they started guarding them to make sure that they don't get defiled. Armalei Shmuel, Vyada Idna Man Natrinhu. Great, you're guarding them now. Who you weren't there when they were in captivity. Who says, okay, fine, no one's going to touch them now. They're not going to be with anyone now because you're watching them. But who was watching them before when they're in captivity? Armalei, he said like this: Ilu benasach havyan. If this was your own daughter, mi havis mazalzbahu kulihai, would you be mazalzel and just like ignore them? Sahavi kishkaga shiyaitz mipanav hashalit. It's comparable to the pasuk Koheles, like a mistake that came out of the mouth of a leader. V'ishtavian benasid Mar Shmuel. Then all of a sudden, Mar Shmuel's daughters, in fact, became held in captivity. Vaskinhu l'Ardi Yisrael. And they went to Eretz Yisrael. Ukman l'shoyvinhu miavroi, and they took the shvuyin to the outside, so the Beis Din wouldn't know that they were actually in captivity. So the Beis Din would not know their status. The ayel be'mid Rasha, they went to the Beis Medrash, Rabbi Chanina. Ha'amra nishbesi. She said I was in captivity with Tahirani. So since no one knew about it, so it's like a case of she has a pesha, also pesha hitter. V'ha'amra nishbesi tahirani. So they both said this. Sharinhu. So they mocked her because they said, oh, okay, we didn't know that you were in captivity. There was no witnesses to that effect. The fact that you're divulging this information that it happened, but you're not touched, so we're going to believe you. And if you can marry Kayin. Saif, at the end, Ul, they came up, and Asu Shavinhu. Amar Rav Chanina benan de Marian Inun. It's very clear that you must somehow be related to a Adam Gadol. Rashi says benos Adam Gadol ubal hayrahu shiyadu lasos kain. It's very interesting that you knew to go into the Beis Din to say this and to get this heter, and therefore we're not going to remove the heter. The Goli Milsa, the Manasseh de Bar Shmuel Habin. It turned out that these were, again, Bar Shmuel's daughters. Are Malay, Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Shimon, Bar Abba, Puk, go out, Itbal B'Kroi Vosecha, and marry off to your relatives. Rashi says, So'achas mehen shein Kroi Armullah Rabbi Chanina, V'ika Eidim B'Medinas Hayam. But what if there are witnesses elsewhere, says Rashi, Shara Shenishvu, that they actually saw that they were captive? The Dilma also Kaman Lamachan may show up tomorrow, or Yaima Amran La'achar Shenasam. And after they get married, but now also the witnesses are going to come and verify that they're in captivity. So Hashdim Mihos Leisna Kaman. Right now they're not in front of us, says Rashi. Kaidim Nisuin, Umishum Dilma also Lasrin Lahashta. Because maybe we'll have witnesses that'll come tomorrow, we're not going to worry about that. Right now, they're fine. Let them go get married. Eidim Batsad Itzon V'Tiatzer. As we say, witnesses who are in the north, all of a sudden we're going to Aser? Of course not. In that case, they didn't come before they got married to the Kohanim, and therefore we'll allow them to do so. Taimudul also Eidim. That's only because witnesses didn't come. Mashma ha also Eidim Mitzvah. If witnesses would come, these girls would be us. That once we give her permission to get married, they didn't have to get married. It's like, it's not once they're married, then it's okay. But if they're not married, then witnesses come and then we'll say, I'm sorry, now you can't marry a Kohen. That's not what you said. You said once there was a heter, it's acceptable. So Amar Ravashi, Edi Tuma Itmar. The concern is not the Edom will come to say that they're in captivity. Only the issue is, what if they came and saw that they actually saw that they had bia, and therefore they're usher. So once you have that, that becomes problematic. However, if they would only come and say, yes, I know that nishbis, so the fact is, once we already allowed them to get married, so therefore even if they didn't get married, we're going to say that their heter continues, it remains. Okay. Let's continue on Chav Gimel and Beis with the next Mishnah. Shtei Noshim Shenishbu. So now you have two women that were in captivity. Zos Hameres Nishbesi Utahirani. Zos Hameres Nishbesi Utahirani Inu Nemenos. So each woman says that I am pure. I was captive, but I'm pure. So in this situation, we're not going to believe. And Rashi says why? Because Sheyesh Eidim Sheyishbu. Here it's not just them coming straight out and we didn't know about this. There was actually witnesses already to the fact that they were in captivity. So they're not going to be believed, says Rashi. Okay, we'll see Rashi in a second. However, if it was Manchehin Me'idu Zu at Zu, then Hari Elu Nemenais. If let's say they would say, I'm not going to testify by myself, but my friend is Tahira, so then they'll be believed. As Rashi says, there's Shmuya Hikilu Yerman Eid Echad Befil Isha. Even a woman is believed to testify about her friend, not about yourself, but you can testify on behalf to another person and say, I know for sure she's Tahira. So if you only said it about yourself, you're not going to be believed. If you say about someone else that she's Tahira, then each of them will end up becoming Tahar through the testimony of each other. So now we're going to continue straight down to the next Mishnah, which is going to discuss 4 different scenarios and 2 opinions of how to read this. Tanobanan. If a woman says, Ani Timeya, I am impure, v'chaverti tahira. My friend is tahira, so nemenes. She's going to be believed. And the basic reason for this is a person could always say that they're Timeya because shavanavshach. You can just say that you're usher. You can always make yourself usher. However, when it comes to your friend, you can't make her asr, but you could make her tahar. Because as we said, that when it comes to shvuya, even a woman is believed to say that her friend is tahira. The other way around, ani tahira v'chaverti timeh in nemenes. If let's say she would say, I am tahira, so that's not, you can't give edus about yourself. She's not going to be believed. My friend is Tameya. You're not going to be believed to say that your friend is Tameya. You're only believed, the woman's only believed to say that she's Tahira. Eno nemenes. However, let's say ani v'chavarti Tameya nemenes al atzma ne'eno nemenes al chaverta. If you say that we're both Tameya, so she's believed on herself because shav nashachik the surah, but you can't say it about your friend. Ani v'chaverti tahira nemenes al chaverti ne'eno nemenes al atzma. Again, you can't testify that I am pure. That's not going to do anything, but it'll work because we're lenient when it comes to shvuya. Even an isha can testify that her friend is tahira. Omer Mar. And that's basically what the Gemara is going to dissect, but it's going to talk about a couple more little pieces in it. Ani tahira v'chaverti tameya eno nemenes. So why is it that when she says, I am pure, and my friend is tameya, that she's not believed at all? So heichadami idolek edim. There's no witnesses al atzma. There's no witnesses to verify that anything happened to her. There's no witnesses at all. Amaylo mehimna. Why wouldn't she be believed to say she's tahira? Nishbesi tahira ni ka'amr. It's a case of she has a pesha hitter. There's no witnesses. She's the one that's saying, I was in captivity, but I was pure. So she should be believed. So it cannot be a case of no witnesses. Elwa pshita di'ikedim. It has to be that there's witnesses that she was in captivity, as Rashi said above. And therefore, she has no pesha hitter, and therefore, she's not believed to say that she is tahira, about herself. So, let's say the second case. Or third case. I and my friend are tameya. Nemenes. Al atzma v'ina nemenes al chaverta. So, if you actually have witnesses that you were both in captivity, amaylo mehimna. Why should you not be believed regarding your friend that she's tameya? There's witnesses that say that she's in captivity, so there's a pretty good chance that it's true that she's tameya. El pshita the lake edim. It must be the reason why you're not believed is because there was no witnesses. And since there's no witnesses about your friend, you're not going to be believed to say that she's tameya. Ema seifa. Ani v'chaverti tahira. I and my friend are tahira. Nemenes al chavert and nemenes al atzma. So why are you not believed about yourself to say you're tahar? V'i the lake edim. So as we said before, if there's no witnesses, then atzma ma'ilo mehimna, right? So obviously, again, because you have a peshaser. So el pshita di ik edim. So the Gemara says, one second, Reisha was saved the ik edim, misyas the lake edim. So Rabbi, and yeah, that's how we have to read it, even though it's not consistent. Reisha was saved the ik edim. It has to be, because in both the Reisha and the Sefer, when she says that I am pure, she's not believed because you have witnesses already that she is in captivity, so she doesn't have a pesha hitter. Mitziyas the lake edim, we have to say the middle case is where there are no witnesses, because if in fact there were witnesses that she was in captivity, then why would we say that you're not believed about your friend that she's tameya? So that's one shot. The truth is there are witnesses in all of these cases, and he wants to remain consistent. Now the problem is the middle case. How is it possible that there's witnesses and you're not believed? It's because the ika aid echad the apik. There is actually a witness. The aid says the opposite of whatever the woman says. The man says the opposite. Right? It sounds pretty consistent of some men. They'll say the opposite of what a woman says. So this is how the Gemara understands this. Amra, if she said, I need to make a chaverti tahira, so that means whatever she says, there's a witness that contradicts it totally. So if she says, I am tameya, and my friend is tahira, so the ermula eid echad, no, at tahira, you're pure. V'chavertach tameya. So the reason why the woman is believed about herself is you can always make yourself tameh. However, we're going to listen to the man who says that she is we're going to listen to the to her who says that the woman that her friend is tahira. Okay, so therefore that's the reason why we say that she is believed by herself that she's tameya, and about her friend is tahara. We believe her completely. Ani tahara v'chaverti tameya. So we said in the case where she says I am tahara, my friend is tameya, she's not believed at all. The amrula eid echad at tameya v'chavertach tahara. So ihi kivan deika edim. Since you have a witness that's saying that you're tameh, lav kol kimina, she's not believed about herself to say that she's pure. Chavertem misharte pumada eid. Here we're listening to the witness. The witness says that no, your friend is tahar, and therefore we're going to listen to that. Aniva chaverti tameya. If she says I and my friend are tameya, so she's believed about herself because she always to make herself tameh, but not on her friend. Why not? Why is she not believed about her friend? Because v'yamula eid echad ad v'chavertach tahira. So you can make yourself tameh. However, chavertem misharya pumad eid. Since the witness says your friend is tahira, we're going to listen to the witness. Hasu Lumali. So why do you need that case? Hainu Resha. It's basically saying the same things that we could have figured out on our own. So Ma'adatema Hani Tervayu Taharis Nehu. Really, maybe both of them are Tahira. So if they're both Tahira, so how come in this third case did she say not only is her friend Tamea, but even her, that she's saying she is Tamea? Why would she throw herself in harm's way, saying she's Tamea? Because Thomas Nafshi Plishtim, he may Koabda. Maybe she just doesn't like her friend. And even though she herself is Tahira, she wants to be maybe believed, she thinks, by making herself Tamea, which she is believed actually, she would think that maybe she'll also be believed about her friend is Tamea. And therefore, even though the truth is maybe the woman herself is Tahira, she's trying to do this because just like when it came to the Plishtim, we find that Shimshon had himself sacrificed in order to harm the Plishtim. So maybe that's what her intention was too, Kamashmullah. Aniva Chaverti Tahira. So the fourth case is where she says, I and my friend are Tahira. Yermul Eid Echad Adva Chavertak Tamea. No, you're both Tamea. So Ihi Kivandi Ika Eid Lav Kokamina. Potentially you have a witness saying that you were in captivity and that you're Tamea. We're not going to believe her to say she's pure. However, Chaverta Mishari Puma Didah. We're going to listen to the woman's testimony who says that her friend is Tahira. Hasu Lamli, Hainu Reish, the Reish. It's the same case. Same things we can deduce. So Mahu the Taimo, you would think. Ki mehim the b'makam the pasla nafsha. When do we believe it? Only when you pasla yourself. B'makam the makashra nafsha. In a situation where you're kashering yourself, you're also trying to make yourself look good. Imalo mehim the kamashmuan. Maybe the only reason why she was saying that her friend was Tahara is because she wants to become Tahar too. Turns out it doesn't help for her, it only helps for her friend. But maybe the reason why she's saying it is not really that her friend is Tahar. She was doing it in order to be able to make herself also Tahar. It's like, oh wow, well, let's make them all Tahar. She's Tahar, she's Tahar. Kamash Mulan, no. We're going to listen to her when it comes to her friend becoming pure, but we're not going to listen to her herself that she's pure because we have a witness that says otherwise. And we're going to stop there. Let's see maybe another question. Okay. Fine. Question 8. Shtei nashim shenishmi. We have two women that were in captivity. V'achas omeres ani tamea. So she says about herself, I'm tamea. So certainly she's always believed she'll be tamei because shav nafshach chidusura. However, v'chaverti tamea. My friend is also tamei. Him nemenes aleha v'al chaverta. B'di'ik edim b'deleka edim. This is actually a little bit of a lengthy question. So if there are witnesses that they were in captivity, she's always believed about herself that she's making herself tamei. Doesn't matter witnesses or no witnesses. Shav nafshach chidusura. Now, if there are witnesses, she is going to be believed about her friend. If there's no witnesses, then she's not going to be believed about her friend. TA 7. Isha shamar eshas isha hayisi ugrushani. I was married. I'm divorced. V'niseis, she got married. V'achach bo eidim shahoisei ishes ish him teitzi v'mazeh toli l'maskana. So he said it's a machlokas toli isha shamar l'bala gerishtani. If she says to her husband, "I'm divorced from you," nemenes, she's believed because she wouldn't be made as panav. Now davka b'fanav, maybe that's only in front of him. Or afil shlo b'fanav, even not. And it says in parentheses, "V'ayin taisus." The plugasam davka kishinises. Maybe it's only a situation where they got married. Okay, so again, this is on Dav Chaf Gimel Amud Aleph. Whether or not this din of being made as panav, which is actually the same, really similar question as question 7, is TA 7. Whether or not this din even applies shlo b'fanav, would she be made as panav in that situation? Okay, TB. TB8. I was in captivity, I'm pure. V'niseis, she got married. V'achach bo edim shenishbis, and then there's witnesses that she was in captivity. O edim shenitma im teitze. So he said, if let's say there's witnesses that she was in captivity, lo teitze, which is what we saw in the case of Buddha Shmuel. However, the Edi Tuma Teitze, obviously, if you have witnesses that say that she was Mamish Tameya, then in that situation she would have to leave from the situation of her being married to a Kohen Adkan.